Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, Big Lee Baby Michaels, he's probably on a coffee break there just for a second, or chowing down some Kentucky Fried Chicken or some Dinah's Chicken or maybe some Popeye's Chicken. I used to like Pioneer Chicken back in the day. Oh, yeah. But the Popeye's beans and rice are real good. Unfortunately, I can't eat any of that. Good to have you along with me, Jesse T. We are back. It's a Thursday in Southern California. Another beautiful day in the Southland of paradise, except there's just too many people. People everywhere clogging up the traffic. I'm out on the street all day long today, broadcasting live from the Gray Ghost. And we have the great show lined up today called Real Story. Yes, we're going to get down to the real story, what's happening. And I miss these guys from last week. I had to kind of do it all myself. I was single man in it last week. But we got Del Bird. Hey, what's happening, Del?
Mr. Jesse T, what's happening, my brother?
Hey, man, I missed you last week, you know. I mean, you were busy making some money, baby. I like that.
Always making money, brother.
Yeah, man, the only problem about making money is no matter how much money you make, we never make enough. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, and even when you think it's enough, it's never enough.
It's like, you know, I have got a formula. I've got an idea of what really happens to us, and we don't know about it. When we're sleeping at night, I think our washing machine talks to our stove, and our stove talks to our car, and our car talks to our sprinkler heads, and our sprinkler heads talk to our air conditioners, and they're all in cahoots against us because they all talk to our bank accounts and checking accounts. You see, they know when there's a little extra money in there to take from us. That's my idea about this.
Well, I have a simpler idea. I have two 18-year-old daughters.
Oh,
and so they don't even call me dad anymore. They just come in and go beep 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 like I'm a goddamn ATM machine. So that's where my money goes.
Ah, I can relate to that, man. Absolutely. I tell you what, it never stops, brother. Mine is 28 and 23. It never stops. What's happening, Dominic Craig, man? What's happening, Dominic?
Good afternoon.
Man, Dominic, I swear you ought to be a fashion model. You're so damn handsome, I'd probably ask you out on a date if you weren't married.
My wife would kill us both.
I know, and so would mine. Mama T would be after me with a hatchet, that's for sure.
And kill me for allowing it.
That's right.
Shit, but she would kill me too.
Yeah, she'd be waiting in the bushes, man, at night, right? Ready to jump out, O.J. Simpson style, right? Oh, hey, let me ask you guys, what do you guys think? Let's go back in some time here, since I did bring up O.J. What were your thoughts about that when that happened? Now, I'll tell you, my thoughts were, I was working at KGLH for Stevie Wonder on the air, and I was right in the middle of law school at that time when that was going down, and the program director asked me to talk to the news director. So I talked to the news director, and he said, can you play the devil's advocate? Because everybody, of course, that listened to KGLH was much more African-American families. That was a big demographic down there in the city of Los Angeles. And I was the only guy who wasn't black on the air there for the time I was there. And so I played the devil's advocate, and I love that. You guys know I love playing the devil's advocate. But I was like, man, that dude chopped off all those heads, and he set it up, he did it, blah, blah, blah. I was after him right from the get-go. What was your guys' stance on that?
Would you like to go first, Dale?
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead. Just jump in.
All right, here I go. OJ was innocent. OJ didn't do it, okay? I met Ron Goldman when he was alive. I met him 2 weeks before he died. Ron Goldman was about 6'3". He was a perfect 10 young man. I mean, he was a perfect 10 young man. It was common knowledge that he was a local gigolo and that he was providing goods and services to local rich chicks in the area. Now, this guy was also, I can't remember if it was a 3rd or 4th degree black belt. And whoever killed this guy took a beating. He had bruises on his fists, bruises on his elbows, bruises on his knees. He whooped somebody's butt. And OJ only had a scratch on his finger. Furthermore, they proved that 3 knives were used. One of the killers was left-handed. One used a straight edge. Another was serrated edge. And the poor lady, Mrs. Simpson, she had a Colombian necktie. That was the Colombians who did that. She was running up $20,000 a month coke bills and passing them to OJ. Every time the Colombians would come, he would say, I'm going to pay this time. I'm going to pay this time. I'm going to pay this time. But then he said, I'm not going to pay. And that's what happened to him. And it gets further worse. 3 other people at Mezzaluna were murdered. 3 other people at Mezzaluna were murdered. All this was left out of the trial because they were distributing the coke out of that restaurant, Mezzaluna. And that's what happened to OJ's wife. OJ didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, that's an interesting take on that. What do you say about that, Dale?
Well, I mean, my thing is, and I apply this to everything that I say in life. I love my brother. I love y'all, but y'all some conspiracy things. Is that what usually is the reality that's in front of your face? It's usually what's happening. Anytime, and I do this all the time, and I want you guys to listen to this because I wish that you would apply this to your life, is if it looks like they did it, it means they probably did do it. Anytime that, wait a minute, stop. Every time that I see a conspiracy theory, whatever the case may be, don't get me twisted. I love a good conspiracy theory like my brother just said here. But I give any bullshit the OJ test. And the OJ test is this. An innocent man doesn't run. An innocent man does not run. If you didn't have anything to do, I'm not saying that he did it because I was not in the bushes to know it for a fact, like my brother over here is saying that he knows it like a fact. But if I didn't do it, if I didn't have anything to do with it, I would not be taking the cops on those slow speed chase. It doesn't mean that's ridiculous to me. If it looks like it, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that he did it, and I'll tell you why. When I was at KGLH, one of the things that I did is I went down to the crime scene, and they had not really cleaned it up yet. The tape was gone and all that stuff, but the stains in the path and the walkway and all that. And I was looking at the crime scene because I had a great interest in this. We talked about this every single day in law school at the time. Every single class we talked about this, and so I was looking at that and I was saying there's a couple of contributing factors here. One, OJ was a violent guy. Everybody knew that he was quick to get angry, quick to be very jealous. He always had these sex parties at his mansion in Brentwood. Everybody knew in the entertainment business that he was a party fiend, a party animal. Everybody also knew that he liked to taste the coke too, along with his crazy wife. Absolutely. And I don't discount that coke habit they had because he was a party guy. And so were the Kardashians at the time too. Robert Kardashian was a party guy. He met him in USC. So that's how he got that connection. But they had these wild parties. So a lot of stuff was going on. And OJ was an extremely jealous man. He was always very jealous of her because she was a beautiful woman. And a lot of guys hit up on her. A lot of guys wanted to do things with her. And maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. But he was very jealous of her. And when she started splitting and getting her own place like she did because she got fed up with his violent tendencies, because he was a very violent guy. I mean, there's photos of him beating her up before. I mean, she didn't just beat her own self up. This wasn't the Fight Club. You know, it wasn't Brad Pitt beating himself up on the floor. Okay. So, you know, she beat herself up. And so that's some of the, and also OJ was prepping for a movie, a commando type movie. It was going to be a big epic movie where he was a lead commando, you know, the super action hero. And it all had to do with a lot of knife work. and it was proven that he had been practicing for a long time with this knife work to make sure that it was authentic within the movie that he was about ready to start filming, and all these little contributing factors. He just left their heads off, guys. When you get sliced with a knife, I don't know if any of you ever have been. I have. When you get sliced with a knife, man, unless you are a SEAL Team 6 dude, or you are Army Ranger, or you are somebody that has got some sort of disciplined training to take that kind of abuse, you tend to go to where you're sliced, you're wounded. And once that happens, the worst thing to do is be attacked by a knife by surprise. You get hit 20 or 30 times before you even can blink an eye. A guy knows how to use a sharp-edged blade. He'll take you down. I'd rather have a guy shooting at me than a sharp-edged blade, because you're going to go down with 20 or 30, and it's not a matter of the killing stick or the killing slice. It's a matter of who hits the main artery and who bleeds out first. That's what happens. That's why you fight like this with your wrist, your forearm this way, because your main arteries are on the inside. So when you fight with a knife, okay? So all those things, that guy lopped their heads off, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought up the knives. Like I mentioned before, there were 3 knives used. One of the killers was left-handed, another used a serrated edge, another used a straight edge. There were 3 knives. That means there were at least 3 attackers. Now, I hate to talk about this, but I'm going to just be quick about this. Now, I hope that none of you ever have to go to a combat zone and come back covered in blood. But if you ever do, you cannot just wash that blood off. You cannot just wash that blood off. You have to scrub. You have to scrub blood off. It does something. It like coats your skin or something. You got to get all under your nails. You have to truly scrub blood off. It takes 45 minutes to 1 hour at least to scrub that blood off. Now, they looked in his limousine and they flushed his septic tank, and there was no blood.
There was blood in the shower. There was blood in the shower drain, so.
No. He would have been convicted if that was the truth.
No, there was blood in the shower drains. They found that, but they wouldn't allow it in the trial.
It must have been his blood. Now, if we're talking about the blood that was found on the scene, it turns out there was less than 1 gram of blood, less than 1 gram of Nicole's blood found on the scene, and it was all coated with EDTA. It was all found 2 weeks after the fact, and it was all fresh. And there were photographs of fresh blood being found on the crime scene 2 weeks later. That's the reason that he got acquitted.
If she got a necktie, there's no way that there's that small amount of blood. Come on, man. Your main artery goes through your head, right through your neck. So if you're cutting your throat from ear to ear, you're slicing it and whipping out her tongue and tying her neck up with it. There's more blood than that. But it's interesting your guys' take, because I just we're stretching back some time there, and that was quite a time here in Los Angeles. It really was, and that kind of leads us to what we're going to talk about today. It's sort of, do you think that the tariffs that are being imposed upon other countries from America and now are being imposed upon us back from other countries, do you think that that's going to be a Colombian necktie for America's workers? Del, what do you think?
Yeah, I exactly believe that. And let me just say this, because I've said it for a while with our president that doesn't know what the hell he's doing, is he's making a very big mistake. And what we saw this week shows you that he doesn't know what he's doing. So let's understand what this is. So let's go back historically. What this is that tariffs are nothing but a tax on American people. That's what they are. It's a fancy word for saying taxes. As a country, the United States of America, there's things that the president, is not putting in play when he makes these decisions. We're 5% of the world, but we consume 25% of the world's resources. So in our country, our leaders purposely let tariffs be low on us, our taxes be low on us, so our people can have cheap goods. We want the cheap goods. That's what we want. If you started making prices way higher for the American people, they gonna ride in the damn streets. Now, there are some countries that need to have their asses checked, like China, because they're not only participating in trade tariffs, but they're also doing money manipulation, monetary manipulation, and then
Stealing.
stealing properties. So yeah, you need to go off on them. But if you guys saw today, not in the fake news that you guys say, but if you saw what happened today and yesterday, the president is backing off on his bullshit rhetoric right now. Because right now, what he's done with China, just China alone, I'm not talking about the other guys, is that he is killing farmers. Soybeans is one of our biggest transports out, our biggest exports out. And now that we put the tariffs on China, they went back and they put the tariffs on that particular industry. And because they put it on that in particular industry, these guys are getting killed. My brothers and sisters, my white brothers and sisters, American brothers and sisters, are getting killed in Nebraska, killed in fucking Michigan, killed in those states that voted for this fool. And now he doesn't know what to do. So now what did he do? He went back and took the emergency fund that's $12 billion, it's actually $30 billion in that emergency fund, and he gave them $12 billion of emergency fund because of his silliness. And to their credit, my brothers and sisters, my white brothers and sisters in those states, they saying, we don't want that. We don't want the welfare. They're going to get welfare. And all I'm saying is that tariffs don't work. They have not worked. We got rid of them in the 20s because they did not work. We don't live in an isolationist world anymore, assholes.
What say you, Dominic? What do you think about these tariffs? Is it putting America into a stranglehold?
It's very important. You have to understand, okay? I had to explain this to somebody who was close to me. I remember the world before NAFTA. I remember the world before NAFTA. Before we signed the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement, kids were working at McDonald's. Kids were working at fast food. Things were manufactured here. We had Zenith and RCA or whatnot. And these were the names that you saw on your television and not names like Sony and Samsung or whatnot. We had a manufacturing base. We had all of this before we began to sign these free trade agreements. Now, I am yet to see a trade agreement that has benefited the American worker. I haven't seen one. I have not seen one that has benefited the American worker. Now,
well, I'm glad that Trump got rid of TARP when he first got in.
Yes. That's the first thing he did. And Bernie Sanders also said that that was a good thing that he did because it would allow foreign corporations to sue American citizens over lost profits. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, regardless of what you feel about President
Obama,
Dominic, back up a little bit, bro. Back up from the camera a little bit.
I'm trying to make the point that President Trump is trying to renegotiate bad agreements for the betterment of the American people. Now, will he be successful? I certainly hope so, but it is not a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, this is my point that I like to make about tariffs. And I'm gonna kind of bring both of you up to some educational speed here. So you guys take some notes. If you need some pens, I'll make sure you get some next time. So take some notes, my two youngsters, my two young Padawas from Star Wars.
My God.
Take some notes, man. The Yoda is talking right here, brother.
Here we go.
Jesse T. Yes, me and G. Oakland. Jesse T's in the house. That's right.
Some knowledge.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to spread some knowledge on you. Tariffs. After World War II, after we decimated both Asia, which was Japan primarily, and the islands, and any place else we could bomb. After we decimated Europe with bombing, and of course the Germans and the Russians and all the fighting were taking place. After that, right before the Marshall Plan was enacted, what we were doing is we were rebuilding those countries around the world that fought in the war, World War II, and got destroyed. I mean, every building, street, infrastructure. We were rebuilding those countries with infrastructure, with products, goods, and services, with know-how, with engineering, with everything that we were doing. And part of the exchange was, obviously, we were the only country in the world that wasn't hit as an industrialized nation with war in our front yards. So we had the infrastructure to support and rebuild the planet that was destroyed after World War II. Part of the Marshall Plan said, look it, we're not going to charge you anything to sell your goods and products in America, because that will stimulate your economic situation back in your country. Send some of your products over here, send some of your goods over here. We won't charge you anything. But it's okay if you charge us a little something, because that will further stimulate, infuse cash into your society. As we rebuild your society, you can charge us a little bit of a tax. And that was part of the Marshall Plan's financial and economic stability structure that allowed these countries, especially in Japan and especially in Europe, to be able to have needed income and be able to make some income on a planet-wide basis by selling their goods and services to the only consumers of the planet really at the time that meant anything, and that was the American buyer. Okay. Well, what has happened is that went on from president after Truman, went to Eisenhower, and so forth and so forth. And what has happened is it has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The point that it's become very abusive against America. And where the abuse is, it's not in the corporate CEO's director's chair, because they just take their companies and go over there, bypass the tariffs, and sell their products, goods, and services over there. And they then, in turn, like all the car manufacturers from Japan, 25%. They charge 25% on top of a Ford or a Chevy to go to Japan, and we only charge them 10% to get their Camry over here, okay, in that respect, over the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. So this has promulgated and proliferated to the point where it's become unbalanced. And that's what President Trump is talking about. He's not talking about getting rid of all tariffs, because you can't have free trade in the world. There's no such thing as free trade. History tells us that. So he's talking about balancing it out a little bit so that there's fair and equitable balanced trade. See, China, which is the most egregious act here, and Europe, EU was too. Okay, so what he's and there's a second part to this, and I'm going to get off this in a second and let you guys respond to it. In China, 396 billion dollars in deficit from China alone. Okay, and they charge us a Buick in China costs $80,000, $90,000, $100,000. That same car costs $25,000 here. Okay, Europe, hundreds of billions of dollars they were charging us, and the tariffs were out. The EU, when it came into existence, just tariffs our butts. Okay. This is why we have German cars. This is why we have French cars. This is why we have all those goods here, because it's cheap for them to come here. And in their own countries, they use them as taxi cabs, not Chevys, not Fords. Okay, that's the problem. He's talking about balancing. Now, this is how he's doing it, guys. It's so simple. He's uniting our friends in the world under our idea of fair and balanced trade. The EU has supported him now. Okay, Mexico and Canada are going to come on board. Japan is going to come on board, and even China even Russia might come on board, because China is the great evil empire of our time. They want to dominate the world under their communist, socialist, capitalist ideology. They want to dominate. And it's going to happen around 2050, 2060 anyway, just because of population. So you see, he's uniting this core over here, and then China will back down like they already are. That's my thought on that. What say you guys? Jump in, either one of you.
I say it's true. Everything that you just said is absolutely positively the case. Now, I don't know if President Trump is going to be successful, but at least he is trying to turn around some of this poppycock that has happened before. I mean, like I said, I don't know that any trade agreement has benefited the American worker. I don't know that to be the case. I don't know if he's going to be able to bring the jobs back. I don't know if he's going to be able to turn around the economy, but at least he is trying to do something.
What do you think about that, Del?
Well, and you guys got to give me a minute here because it's two of y'all and it's one of me. And so now I got to give you guys economics 101 that's happening here. Mr. Jesse T, everything that you said was pretty much right, but your theory is all wrong. Your response to what it is all wrong, because you are allocating what you're saying as a individual country that's getting had by everybody else. You're not taking it into the realm of us being America, the economic power in the world, and then having everybody else play our economic game. The more that you bring in other countries to our economic game, the more that we win as Americans. Dominic, you said NAFTA. So let me make you understand what NAFTA is. It's nothing what you said. It's nothing what you said. It's not even close to what you're saying. This is the misunderstanding of conservatives and Trumpers along the way. We live in a world society. We live in a world society now. After World War II, we are on the world stage and we're the big guys. So let's take NAFTA for an example.
But Del, let me interrupt you just a second. I will let you go, absolutely. Right. But you got to understand something. The population in China is going to outsurpass the consumerism.
I'm not talking about China. I'm not talking about China. I'm not talking about China. They're a completely different aspect of what I'm talking about right now.
Well, no, it really isn't, because if you're talking about the big boy, if you're talking about America and the big boy being as the empire state of the world as it's been since the end of World War II, and I agree with you on that, then we're going to lose that status here just because it's going to happen. We're going to end up being third behind India and China. Our population is going to do that. It's been proven statistically and economically. They're going to outspend us once they, unless we do something about it now, and that's what I'm talking about. Being able to do something now about that. If we want to continue to live under a constitution and not a socialist communist state.
So if I'm allowed to finish here,
go ahead.
Because I don't disagree with any of the things that you just said there. I don't disagree with it at all. And I what I'm saying here is that number one, I want you to separate China from what I'm talking about right now. And if you hear what I'm saying right now and then put your philosophy to China in there, it makes perfect sense about what's happening right now. So I'm going to go rewind back to NAFTA, and I'm taking my brother's attitude of his thinking of what NAFTA is, which is incorrect. His philosophy about what NAFTA is incorrect. So let's just rewind it for a second. When George Bush, number 2, brought up the whole idea of NAFTA, it was not just for an economic trading philosophy, it was also for a security trading philosophy. Meaning this: if we can make other countries, especially the countries that are right next to us, Canada and Mexico, more profitable. They don't have to be a drain on us. Companies that take any company, I don't care what it is, take any company that you guys are thinking in this 1920s mentality that you have is US based companies. Any company now is a international company. And what they're going to look for is their bottom line. They're going to look for their bottom line. And it doesn't matter if their bottom line happens in America or Mexico or Canada or Thailand or anywhere else. You can't stop them from going to another spot. When you make a NAFTA agreement, what you're saying is Canada, Mexico, these are the working standards that we are abiding by for this standard. Yes, you can have free trade, but you have to have these standards. These standards didn't exist before. So if you say somebody like Ford, that is an American company originally, they're not an American company anymore. They're an international company, and they're going to make their products from the bottom line. So if Ford was an American company before, and they had 100% of their productivity in America, and then they see in Mexico or Thailand or somewhere else that they can make these products way cheaper, way better, at the same time that they can make it in America, that's what the hell they're going to do. And
Dominic, chime in here. Tell me, what do you think about that?
Real simple. Okay. Before NAFTA, we had jobs. After NAFTA, we didn't have jobs. We didn't get to vote NAFTA. We would have said no. The American people would have said no. Now, I'm not disagreeing.
Jobs in America. NAFTA is creating 5 million jobs in America. NAFTA is the biggest reason why we don't have Mexicans flooding over our border anymore like it was in 2004, 2003. Dominic, you go to Mexico all the time. You know that that's not the country that the media tries to tell you anymore. They got companies down there. They got money down there. They're doing their thing down there. So now the Mexican citizens don't have to come to America anymore to steal the jobs, to do whatever the hell they
then my play on this is if they got that going on in these countries, which they do, I'm not doubting that. That's not the argument here. That's not what we're talking about for a second. Just follow me for a second. We're talking about those countries, Mexico and even Canada. They charge us money for our goods to cross their borders, much more than we charge them. Okay? So if they're making all kinds of money and we aren't making all kinds of money, then there should be a fair and balanced trade to some degree, at least change it, because this idea of tariffs now is a 50-year-old idea, a 65-year-old idea that doesn't work anymore, and it shortchanges the American worker in the long run.
No.
Absolutely.
In the immortal words of our old Vice President Dick Cheney, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. The fact that NAFTA came along is why Mexico was able to build up their economy. Their economy is supported, of course, by the U.S. If we have to lose a couple of dollars for them not to flood their workers into our market, then so be it.
But it didn't work out because we got flooded. We got flooded with 10 million people illegally crossing the border because Obama, Clinton, and Bush would not adhere to our immigration policies, and the tariffs were taking our money. And not only that, 30% of the GDP of Mexico was people living and working here illegally, sending their money back and not getting taxed. So it doesn't make any sense.
No, it does make exact sense.
Money going out of America makes sense.
There is There is no worker in a car manufacturing business that's going to get paid minimum wage. There's no American. that's going to get
Or check if you're in China or you're in Indonesia and you get paid what, $50 a week because it's slave labor. That's what the companies want.
Right. And so if you're a international company, are you going to pay somebody in America $28 an hour to do something that somebody else along the world can do for 50 cents an hour?
Only if the president forces you to do so. And that's what we need. We need a president who's going to stand up for the American worker. We need a president who's going to stand up for the American worker.
I'm going to ask you guys both these questions because this is the reason why I didn't support Bernie Sanders. I'm a pro-business progressive, and both of you guys know I believe in business. I'm my own guy. It is what it is. Competition.
Me too.
What makes you win. But let me ask you a question because I want to know this from conservatives. How, if you are a president or a leader, do you stop a international company from taking jobs out of American hands to go somewhere else to make that same product cheaper than what you make it in America?
Did you see what Trump did with Harley? Did you see what Trump did with Harley Davidson? Harley Davidson said, okay, check it out. We're going to move our production offshore.
I want to answer to the question. How
you need a leader who's going to stand up and say, if you're going to sell your products here, you got to make it here.
No.
Without that leadership, that's what you get.
I don't need no slogan. I don't need none of that.
Here it is. You charge the corporations, who are the great evil of this planet anyway. You charge the corporations who don't care about America and the American worker. You charge the banks and the insurance companies who don't care about you or I. They only care about their bottom line and their parachute CEO salaries. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm going to answer. Let me answer the question. No, let me answer. Let me answer the question you asked. This is how you do it. You go to the corporation. You go to IBM. You go to Facey HealthNet, and you say, "Look it. You're going to do your business in America, and if you don't, you want to take it off Seeds, General Motors, then we're going to hit you with tariffs coming back to America to sell your goods equal to what we're being charged going back over there." That's how you do it. You make them feel the bottom line, and you shame them in public. And he's done that because, did you see this last week? He had like 30 guys, top CEOs, bestow upon America, promising to make millions and millions of jobs. That's why we're going to see 5% GDP next year.
Wow. And number one, when we see 5% GDP, please come and get me so we can get married in Las Vegas. That shit is never going to happen. And wait a minute, that shit is never going to happen because the world doesn't do 5% anymore, and it's never done it. You can't even show time in history.
They're going to 4%. Watch on Friday.
We can still get married in Vegas at 4%, not Vegas, Reno.
Dude, I just want to know, do you have a blonde wig? Do you have a blonde wig?
I can buy one.
That's enough, motherfucker. That's enough.
It's for GDP, then yes, I'll go buy a blonde wig and we'll get married.
Quitting.
No.
YMCA, motherfucker.
No, all I'm saying is this. The logic economically does not make sense right now. It does.
Okay, let's move off. Dominic, you got the last word on this, Dominic.
You guys.
Okay, here we go.
Dominic's got the last word. We're moving off this.
People like will tell you that we can't afford to take care of American people. They will tell you that we can't afford to look out for American workers. They will tell you that our only hope of survival is by cooperating with the people who have benefited from our destruction. I'm going to give it to you real simple. President Trump, love him or hate him, whether he succeeds or loses, he is looking out for the American people first.
There you go. Hey, we're into the real story today on the Jesse T Show. We're laying it down the way real people talk, the way real people think about things, not these people with alphabet soup in front of their name and behind their head, all these talking faces on fake news, real news, nothing news, whatever news, comedy news. We're talking to real folks who have real issues and real thoughts about this, because that's what it's all about. It's the American people that have to live with whatever happens to us by our government corrupted officials. So we have to absolutely discuss this and talk this out. Russia, what say you guys on Russia? All this collusion, the big thing in Helsinki. I mean, where do you guys stand on that? Dell, you got the first shot.
Well, here's the thing. I don't really know. I'm confused now. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe I need some conspiracy brothers to help me with this, because I had a notepad that went back from the days of Ronald Reagan, and I can't stand Ronald Reagan. I think he's one of the worst presidents of all damn time. But there was one thing that Ronald Reagan was. He was a man of clarity. He was a man of conviction, and he was a man that was prepared to do what he was saying. And what he said to us in the 1980s, and like the other presidents before him, is that the Soviet Union, now this Russia, was the great evil, because they were a communist system and we were a democratic system, and that conflicted to what we were. That's what Ronald Reagan said, and he was clear with it. I'm just saying what it was, and then we was clear with it, and it's his truth was not. It was not disputed. Both Democrat and Republicans both said, "Yeah, dog, you're right. The Soviet Union is the enemy." We agree with that. It was what I call a subjective truth. Let me make you understand this. Let me make you understand when I'm saying subjective truth, because we don't have that any damn more. If I hold this up to you and I say this is a lighter, and then the next person says, "No, that's an elephant," I don't even know where to start with. I don't even know where to start with that. I was trained to believe that the Soviet Union.
Hey, move over a little bit. Stay in the camera. Stay in the camera.
Now I'm supposed to understand that Vladimir Putin is our friend. I don't know which one is right. I'm not trying to say which one is right. Now, I'm sure the conspiracy brothers are going to tell me which one is right. But I'm just saying, damn, can I get the memo? Can the rest of America get the memo?
What did you expect him to do? Go over there and beat Putin up, which I don't think he could, because
I know.
Like Wait a minute. 90% of the nuclear weapons held by these two countries. They got to have some working relationship, gentlemen.
Do you understand? That Russia has 6,500 nukes? Do you understand that Russia has a hypersonic nuclear weapon that can take out any city in America with no notice? Wait a minute. But the liberals want to go in there. Eastwood, they want to go in there and say, okay, Russia's evil, Russia is bad, Russia stole our election. Get it straight. Russia's #1 in oil and gas, #2 in gold, and #3 in diamonds. They don't need us. They have a strategic nuclear advantage, and so does North Korea. So when liberals want to talk to you and they want to say that Putin and Russia is the bad guy because we said so and trust us, he's the bad guy because he has a different political system and trust us, what do they want? War? Because that's what they're pushing for. They're pushing for war. And none of these people have ever fought it, and they've never seen it, and they need to shut up and go away.
Well, Russia is. I just want to make a correction here, Dale. Make sure you stay in the camera. You're moving off a little bit.
My bad. Okay. All that bullshit kind of made me slide out my chair. But go ahead.
Well, bullshit or not, the bottom line is Russia does own a lot of weapons like we do, and so we have to have some sort of agenda that we are speaking to each other with some sort of friendly idea, at least the ability to talk to each other, and in that respect. Number two, America is actually becoming the number #1 exporter of oil in the world. That's why in Arizona and Nevada, gas is only $2.39, but here in California, because of our corrupt
oil
government,
and natural gas. Oil and
yeah,
natural gas.
yeah, but natural gas out of Russia is one of their key. They have huge natural gas reserves. But I think that Trump did a pretty good job convincing the EU about that big pipeline they just bought out of Germany. I mean, really, Germany? What a bunch of hypocrites they are. They hate Russia, but yet they're buying oil and they can't natural gas, but they can't pay their bills to us. Duh! Sounds like something I do to the creditors every day. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so let's move on here as we're starting to end the show. We're getting into the real story here. All this grand jury stuff that's going on about this collusion, about this corruption, they're trying to find something on Donald Trump. They put some people to trial now. They've got charges and indictments on others, but they can't seem to find anything on Donald Trump. I profess that they're never going to find anything about Donald Trump because he hasn't done anything wrong. Dale?
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm going to let my brother talk real quick because I'm too busy laughing.
Here we go. No, it's true. Here we go. Okay. Russian collusion. Let's be honest. Why would Russia care? Why would Russia even care who won the election? You want me to believe, let's get all this right on the open, that Russia cared who won the election, that they influenced our election, even though no votes were changed, even though no outcome, the outcome of the election was not influenced, even though no Americans participated, even though no laws were broken, because it is not illegal to use Facebook. You still want me to be afraid of some mystery Russians when, keep in mind, Flint still has no clean water.
Oh, my God.
I think Chuck Barris in the Gong Show, who was a CIA agent, at least according to Chuck Barris's own movie, I think he had something to do with it.
Let me just say this, and I'm going to talk as far as all actual progressives, not the liberal, evil, un-American people that you guys are trying to make us out to be. I am a progressive, and I am a liberal, and I'm a proud progressive, and I am a goddamn proud liberal. Progressives freed the slaves. Progressives gave women the right to vote. Progressives actually fucking change segregation and
wait a minute. Abraham Lincoln was not a progressive.
I don't care. I don't care. I didn't say he was. I started by saying that I can't stand his ass, but I give him credit for what he did. But I'm a progressive. But here's the thing. I see my brother and all the things on Facebook that tries to take this word liberal, and maybe you guys should go back into the dictionary and see what it is and make it un-American. I'm not trying to hear it. But here's the thing. I'm a proud progressive, I'm a proud liberal, and I'm going to stand up to the day that I die because I know what it actually represents, not what you are trying to make it represent. But let me just say this about your president, Donald Trump, in this, whatever the Mueller thing is. I don't give a shit. I'm telling you, the progressives are thinking this as well. We don't care about no Russian thing. That's the media trying to tell you. No. It is the media trying to tell you this. Well, you can shake your head, D, but here's the thing. I represent everybody of the progressives that I talk to all the time. I have 500 clients. So you can listen to the media or you can listen to me. We don't care about that because here's the reality is that we all know that the Russians didn't change not one vote. Is they try to influence and meddle in the elections by trying to change your mentality, by trying to put Facebooks on here that make you think that Hillary Clinton was running a damn child sex slave in the back of her basement or whatever the case may be. Now, if you voted for her or not voted for her based on that opinion, then you on your damn own. But my thing is, I don't really care. What I want and progressives want, we want to see how dirty this fool is. We want to see.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. Wait a minute. That's enough. Because you have not established that the Russians wanted Trump to win. If you can't establish that, your entire theory collapses on its face. On its face. Look.
Who said
The Russians wanted him to win. Why is Trump opposing Nord Stream 2? Why is Trump opposing Nord Stream 2? If he's working for the Russians, you're the conspiracy theorist. You.
Am I? And I'm the conspiracy theorist. Look, here's the thing, Dominic. I don't even know what Nord Stream 2 is, and you can say what it is, or whatever it is. That's some conspiracy goddamn shit.
It's a pipeline leading from Russia to Germany.
So what?
It's a pipeline leading from Russia to Germany.
So Germany that needs energy in their country is going to take the cheapest product that they can get to do their thing. Russia is not no enemy. They're an adversary. That's what they are. So of course, what do you mean? So of course you're going to do business with Russia. They're the country that's right next to you. But saying that doesn't make anything else not true.
Then if you're going to do business with Russia, then what's the big problem with Donald Trump doing business with Russia before he was president? Also, the other thing that I wanted to mention,
there's no problem. Wait a minute, there is no problem with it.
Then what's the problem? What's the problem with Donald Trump keeping the sanctions on Russia and not allowing Crimea to be put off into the background and saying basically until you get out of Crimea, these sanctions are going to be what they are, and they might even get worse.
The answer to your question, there's nothing wrong with it.
And what's wrong with Donald Trump going over there and making a pitch? What's wrong with Donald Trump going over there and making a business pitch to Germany and using all the influence he can to get them to buy our natural gas so American workers once again prevail? I'm making America great.
There's nothing wrong with it. Everything that you said, there's nothing wrong with it. And when I'm trying to make you and your conspiracy brother from another mother understand is that we progressives, we ain't tripping off of that. Do your thing, Trump. Do your thing. Make your business. Go over there. Make your peace. Go over there. Make your deal with them. Do your thing. You're the president of the United States of America. What you do, if it's good for Americans, even though I oppose every dumb thing that you do, it's good for me. I support you. And progressives think that. You guys are on this whole looking at this liberal crap, this fringe motherfuckers like Maxine Water, and you're trying to make them us, and that's bullshit is what I'm saying. Do your thing, but here's the thing, Mr. Wait a minute. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mr. Art of the Deal. Be the art of the deal, not the art of the con, because you have not completed any of the deals that you did. You ripped them up, but you have not completed any of them. And so complete it and give us the better deal, Mr. President. And he has not.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
He has not done it in any aspect.
Real simple. He has tried to make peace with North Korea.
Where's the better deal? Where's the better deal? Where's the better deal?
They're not shooting rockets over Japan.
Here's what's up with North Korea. North Korea and South Korea are negotiating for reunification.
Right.
And as part of that, all we need is deals.
When that happens, when North Korea and South Korea does a reunification, then you know what, Mr. President, you the man. But it's not happened. And so stop give him credit for something that's not happened.
You know what? You say that, but he's the first United States president to meet with the leader of North Korea. And he also met with Vladimir Putin. You know what? You guys are afraid of peace. You guys are afraid of peace because as much as liberals talk about holding hands, they want war. They're the party of war. They're the party of killing. They're the party of destruction because war is money. And that's all that the liberals are about.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this walk. Let's talk about this walkaway movement now. Since we're talking about this, let's just touch this real quickly because I got another topic as we start to run out of time that I want to address. So we're going to spend about a minute, maybe a couple of minutes. I'll let you guys talk. What's going on with this walkaway movement? Why is it all of a sudden happening in the speed that it's happening? And can you address that, Dominic, real quick? You got about 40 seconds to address that.
Yes. Liberalism is a cult, and we're waking up. We're waking up and we're walking out of the cult of liberalism. As we're doing it, the Democrats, they try to say that we're fake news. They try to say that we're fake profiles. They try to say that we're Russian bots. But my videos are going viral. We are not fake. We are real people, and we're really tired of the Democrats, and we're really walking out.
What do you say about that, Dale? What's your thoughts about the walkaway movement, brother?
My thing is real short. If you're going to walk away, know why you're walking away. Don't give us real facts of why you're walking away, not propaganda that somebody has told you why to walk away. That's my end of it. I look at the walkaway movement and I see these guys talking and they're factually bullshit. Everybody there does not understand. They're void of history. They're void of facts. They're void of, especially my people, black folks. They're void of anything that makes you want to walk away. This is America. Walk away. Please do. I endorse you. I know many black Republicans. They're my friends. But these people on walkaway are not black Republicans. So know why you're walking away and know what you're walking into is what I'm saying. God bless you if you want to walk away, but know what you're walking into.
I want to jump off into the state of California right here as we get to the end of the Jesse T show, talking about the real story, because we all are from California. We're different parts of Southern California. We live in different parts, but we all suffer the same consequences that our government does to us at the state level, as well as the county and city and municipal level. California, in terms of crime, in terms of Prop 4757, which is releasing felons and criminals back into the population, and crime has gone up tremendously. Here in the state of California, under Governor Brown, we got a new election coming up, whoever's going to win there. But what do you guys feel about this open carry? The citizens of California voted for it 10 years ago, but Kern County is the only place that you can have a carry, a CCW in the state of California. But the citizens of the state voted for it 10 years ago. Do you think that having a CCW, open carry, or concealed weapon carry is going to make a dent in crime?
Okay, I say no. And I'll tell you why. Most of the crime that takes place in California is identity theft and such. As far as violent crime goes, you cannot stop somebody from carrying a firearm. Now, some of you know that I was an infantryman and I walked the combat zone and I saw evil things. A firearm, I don't think it can protect you. But if you do think it can protect you, if you do think it can save your life, maybe it can. And so I don't want to take anybody's right to protect themselves away. I don't.
So you're a Second Amendment guy?
Yes, sir.
And here's the thing, Jesse.
What do you say, Bill?
Well, I know you guys want to make us liberals and progressives up to be
no. Listen to my question for a second. No, listen to my question for a second. I want to restate it.
Right.
Do you think that the California citizens, the most liberal state in the union, have voted for this about 10 years ago to pass concealed weapons carry? Okay, but none of the counties have allowed it to happen, and the legal system has been down on it. Those citizens voted for it. All right, so clearly the citizens want it, but do you think carrying a weapon, whether it's concealed, whether it's open carry, CCW or whatnot, do you think it's going to make a dent in the crime that's happening all around us today?
No, because that's not where the crime is actually happening yet. Where I live in my city here, you can carry conceal. It's not a big deal. You can have that license and carry a gun openly and show it. It's not a big deal. I am a liberal. I am a progressive, but I am a pro Second Amendment guy, like most of us are. Not what you see on the news, like most of us are. And the reality of it is that, look, if you want to, have some, wild, wild west shit going on, and the Cook County does it, move to Cook County, and then go shoot each other at sundown. Who cares? But my thing is that don't try to act like it's impossible to get a gun in California, because it's not. And if any silliness happens and you come over to my house, I'll show you that the Second Amendment works.
And on that note, guys, what a great conversation we had today, man. We covered lots of stuff. And one of the beautiful things about this is that, we can agree on some things and we disagree, but we all walk away as friends. And this is what the argument and debate and conversation should be about. Maybe we learn something from each other, a little piece of this, a little piece of that. Because I do, and I've always said this, that Americans are people that like to compromise and come down to some sort of compromise in the middle. And I think we've lost that in our country. At least it seems to be in terms of what we see on the TV, in the news. We've lost that idea of compromise to come to some conciliatory ideas to move this country ahead. And I'm glad and I'm so proud to have you guys on the show that, distinctive, different ideas, but we seem to love our country and we love our families, and we can talk about it. I really appreciate you. Del, give them your email to get in touch with you with your tax business.
On all the social medias, my thing is KendellInvest@yahoo.com. KENDL Invest, all lowercase, yahoo.com. Hit me up there anytime. It might take me a day or two to get back to you because I'm a busy guy, but I will hit you back and I'll help you with everything that you need.
And he's one of the very best, guys. And hey, tell us about where we can check your viral sites on, Dominic.
Yes, sir. I'm on the Walkaway Movement, and if you Google the Walkaway Movement, Dominic Deshawn Craig, my videos will come up. If you want to see me playing the bass, Google the New Funky Kitchen. I'll come right up.
I suggest y'all do that. Dominic Craig is the best bass player.
Yeah, man. He's got that funky rhythm in there, baby. I seen him play that thing.
That's my best friend. It's because I don't have one back.
Man, you can feel it down in your bones, baby. That's right. Hey, man, thanks a lot, guys. The Real Story right here on the Jesse T Show every Thursday with Dale Bird and Dominic Craig. The Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya! Boom! Great job, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Great job.
Thank you. That was the best show so far.
They're getting better, and I'll tell you what my goal here is to do, just so the both of you, I have you right here. My goal, hey, Dale, Dominic, hey, Dale. Pick up the headphones. Pick up the headphones. All right, well, I'll give you guys a call. He got his headphones off. Dominic, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Get that bottle.
Yes. No, baby, this is cool. This thing. Jesse T, he's got it going on. He's a smart man. Come on, phone. He's a smart guy. You heard us? Of course you heard us. Well, it turns out, in the end, it's not even important what we're saying. People are